Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. Hope you guys enjoyed my little intro there of me pre-soaking some wheat and drying it. Wheat is one of those things that a lot of preppers store, and there's a couple different things that you can do with the wheat other than just grind flour, and that's kind of the point of my video today. Plus, I'm going to share one of my old-time tools with you guys. I was fortunate enough last summer to barter some wheat with one of the farmer friends of mine. Traded some of my red potatoes for their wheat, and I was able to put up about 100 pounds from what they gave me. So I'm going to kind of show you here some of the things that I do with that wheat. Now in that little intro there I showed pre-soaking the wheat and then drying it, and that's kind of how you make bulgur. And bulgur is kind of a, I guess, a par soaked wheat that cooks a little bit quicker. You can make it into cereal, you can make it into like a cold salad. It's kind of a North African Mediterranean thing, but you can also add it to stuff like soup, like a kind of like what a beef barley soup would be. You could add that bulgur into it. And I was making that stuff, and what I want to do here is I want to show you a little bit of the different kinds of grinds that I got here, and one of my tools. I'm going to set my coffee down here, and I'm going to kind of tip my camera down. And this is my old time tool that I'm going to show you guys today. This is an old coffee grinder, and I've actually used this guy quite a bit. This coffee grinder right here is good for grinding coffee, but there's other things you can do with it too. Plus, it's very portable. You can pick this up and take this with you. It's not like a big Corona grain mill. I have one of those too, but to do larger amounts. But for smaller amounts, just for one meal or something like this is really nice to have. You can also crack corn in it if you got chickens, and I actually did that quite a bit when I was younger. I cracked corn on this for mom and dad's chickens back in the day. But you can grind your wheat, you can grind sunflowers, you can grind a bunch of different things with this. I'm going to kind of open this up here. I've already ground some stuff. You can see down in there. You just put your wheat or corn or coffee, whatever you want to grind in that. And then it's got a little drawer, if I can get it out here. It's got a little drawer in there that catches whatever you're grinding. And the different kinds of wheat that I got here, I'm going to set this off the side just a second. This is the wheat that I was soaking in the intro there. And soaking it kind of, I guess, softens the hulls up a little bit, makes them a little bit easier to grind. And this is kind of the basic wheat, kind of how you start your bulgur or your cracked wheat. I guess I should mention bulgur is kind of your pre-soaked, but cracked wheat is usually not pre-soaked. So there's kind of a little bit of a technical difference. So I guess what I'm doing here is a little bit of a hybrid of the two. This is kind of the cracked wheat and the bulgur. I hope you guys can see the kind of the texture here on this. Now, if I was going to like put up just bulgur, I would run this through a sifter to take the larger pieces out, because that's the bulgur, and then the smaller pieces would be more your cracked wheat. Now, stuff like this is what you can use to put in like a beef soup, like a beef bulgur soup, or you could use venison as well. But all that is that would be a little bit of like a carrot and an onion, a little bit of beef browned, put a little bit of liquid in it, either beef bouillon or even just water, and you put about a half a cup of this in, and that's going to kind of thicken your soup up, and it's going to be very similar to what beef barley soup is. You could also put like dried, if you had some dried morel mushrooms, something like that, you could add that in too. But this is kind of what this looks like here. And the cracked wheat is what you would use to make hot cereal. Like this right here, you could take a half a cup of this, you could put in a little water, you could simmer that, you could add a little either dried apple, or you could add some cold storage apples into this, maybe a little bit of molasses, a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of brown sugar, whatever you happen to have to sweeten it up a little bit, maybe a pinch of salt, and you'd have a fairly decent hot cereal. And this right here is the flour that I made with my coffee grinder there. This was run through about 3 times, and this is kind of what the consistency is. And this right here you could use to make a basic bread with. Pinch of salt, pinch of sugar, a little bit of yeast, a little bit of water. Soak this. You can make yourself a little bit of a loaf out of this. But it's got a real fine consistency to it. kind of like what a whole wheat flour would be, maybe just slightly coarser. But I'm actually going to show you here how I go about grinding this. And all I do here is open up my grinder, just like so. Now, I usually take a spoon to put a little of the wheat into this. I fill the hopper about half full. You don't want to overfill it because then it won't grind as good. A little bit more in there. Now you're going to close this kind of hopper up here, and you're going to hold on to it with this hand right here, and all you're going to do is grind it. And this wing nut up here at the top kind of adjusts your grind. I got it adjusted the way I wanted it. And all you're going to do is you're going to run. And you'll feel the wheat grinding in there, or the corn, or the coffee, whatever you're grinding. And when the pressure goes off, then you know you got everything run through. Much like that right there, you can kind of hear it. There's no more wheat in the hopper there. Now we're going to pull out our little tray here, and you can kind of see that's what the cracked wheat looks like. Now, this right here is going to be added to my cracked wheat plate. Now we're going to put another batch in, and we're actually going to grind that a couple of times, and then that's what's going to give you the flour. So I'm going to add just a little bit more into this here. Got a couple of stragglers here that jumped out. I'm going to close this back up. Run this through. Okay, that's our first grind. Now we're just going to dump this back in, and we're going to do a second grind. And every time you grind it, it's going to get consecutively finer. And it's also going to get easier. The finer you grind it, it's going to go through much easier. And that's kind of what it looks like after 2 grinds. I'm going to put this in just one more time. Yeah, I never discount old tools. Old tools were kind of built to last. Stuff lasts a lot longer than, got most of it out here. Stuff lasts a lot longer than the modern stuff that they make today. And that's kind of what it looks like after the 3rd grind. And then gonna add that here to my flour plate, what I'm making. Just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about this stuff here. Just some old-time stuff that I got here that I add into my preps, and thought I'd give you guys a couple ideas here of what you can do with your cracked wheat or your wheat berries. You can, like I said, you can make hot cereal. You can add it to soup, and pre-soaking it like that makes it a little bit easier to grind it and to crack that. And all I did as far as the pre-soaking goes is I just added the hot water onto the wheat berries in a mason jar, and I let that soak for maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, drained that water off, maybe rinsed it just a little bit, and then I just spread it on some paper towel, or you can put it on a regular like tea towel or something to get the excess water off that, and then just spread it in a sheet pan, and you could put it in an oven. I actually dried mine out here on the wood stove. Just kept turning it every so often till it dried off good. Like I said, that makes the hulls a little bit easier to grind. But anyway, just kind of wanted to share this stuff with you guys, just some alternate ideas to use your wheat berries. But anyway, this is Modern Refugee. Appreciate all my subscribers out there. Hope you guys are getting a little information and a little entertainment out of my videos, and you guys have a great day.